Welcome back to another
Ugh.
Conversations with Fjook, my weekly show where I talk about things, sometimes by myself, sometimes with guests, and today I have David with me. We are talking about Dead by Daylight.
Are indeed.
Welcome, heroes and villains, to Fjook Enterprises YouTube channel. Take a moment, relax, stop your bickering, and just enjoy the show. I know Dead by Daylight, which from here on out I'm going to call DBD because it's just so much simpler, is a horror game. But there are tons of horror games on the market, like Phasmophobia or whatever it's called. What makes DBD so good?
I think it's the fact that it's an I can't say the word, asymmetrical horror game that's actually been executed kind of right. I mean, there's still issues with it. It's constantly up and down from being like, oh, this is the best state it's been in to like, oh, it's a bit rough right now. But I feel like the amount of variety they have in it does make it stand out. And also they do have the benefit of like licensed like survivors and killers, horror movie inspired maps like Saw, things like that, does give it that slight edge compared to like other ones.
All video games have learning curves. How steep is the learning curve for DBD?
Oh, it depends. It's quite varied, really. Like if you're getting into it, it can be overwhelming because there's lots of maps to learn straight off the bat. Trying to find your survivor and like perks that you're gonna run. If you're gonna be playing killer, each killer has like a different skill ceiling almost. Um, it just depends how you do with like kind of quicker paced games. Like I love things like that, so for me, I picked it up quite easy. Yeah, with one of my mates, she's only just starting to get to grips with it, and she's been playing it for about like 8 months now. So it is dependent on what you're usually like with faster paced games, I would say.
So, I do know some amount of DBD hanging around Kaylee and other people that play DBD stream. I've picked up a lot, even though I don't play it. So I know that
Yeah.
each survivor and killers have teachable perks. Are there some of those teachable perks not worth getting due to not really having an impact on the game?
Yeah. There's some picks, there's just no point, really. Like, there's some picks which are just there for, like, you can clearly tell they're there for fun, whereas other picks are there for, like, actual advantages. So, one of my favourites, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's called Diversion. If you stay near the killer, a little meter fills up and you can throw a pebble and it'll just notify the killer where that pebble has landed. Doesn't help in the slightest, but it is just the most hilarious perk going. And then you have other ones like Prove Thyself, which if you've got a teammate near you or like a survivor even near you, it'll help boost with like gen progression, things like that. So it honestly depends on the play style that you're gonna choose. Like if you're just there to have a wacky fun time, you can get away with running the bad perks. But if you really want to win, you gotta actually run like the bigger perks that are usually in the meta. So
Does that mean there are some characters that are just never played because the teachable perks are just that bad? Or are there other reasons that characters are never played?
I'm not too sure to be honest. I wouldn't say like certain characters aren't. I'd say certain killers aren't played as much, depending on their power. Whereas survivors, because like the teachable perks cross over to each like survivor once you've like prestiged a few times. You can pretty much use whatever perk you want at that point. The killers, there's a few where it's like, oh, wouldn't really recommend playing them at the moment, or wouldn't really choose them. Wouldn't know what to put on them to help them out. It honestly just like with the killers, it depends on like the meta. So like right now, it's kind of like I feel like it's going into a more like M1, which is like a basic attack hitter. So I feel like the Onryo, Trapper, Hag, Wraith, killers like that are going to start coming out more. And you're not really going to see like the super complex ones as much, I feel like.
From what I understand of the game, the survivors, besides once you get the teachable perks, it's just basically which one you like to play as, because they're basically all the same. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. There's only like slight differences, like some survivors are slightly louder, some are slightly shorter. That's literally it.
So are some of the killers overplayed then?
When they first come out, you'll notice like a jump in them where it's like, okay, this is getting a bit much now. This is like you're over, like everyone's overplaying this. Like Wesker from Resident Evil, he's come into it. Noticed that he was just played too much. The Knight came out not long ago, but then you get certain killers that come out and they're just not. You'd never really see them. Like the Skull Merchant, I've not seen much of it. So it's just constantly bouncing up and down with the play rates and pick rates and everything.
From the feel of talking to you, while you do know the meta, you seem to ignore it. So I guess I don't know. Is learning the meta hard then, or is it as easy as you make it sound?
See, because I've been playing for a while now, I kind of do just ignore it. I'm just like, I'm just gonna do what I want. I'm here to have fun. I really could not care less. I'm trying to think. If you've taken like a break off it for a long time and you come in, there's been a load of like perk changes. So it can be quite difficult knowing what to run. But if you're keeping up with it like I have been and like a few other people, you will easily figure it out, if that makes sense.
So does the meta change when new killers come out, or mid chapter? How often does the meta change?
It doesn't change too much. It's had like a big shake up lately because they have changed a lot of perks and they keep changing it to keep the game fresh. Um, with killers, depending on what perks they've like been like released with, it can adjust it slightly. And same with survivors actually. If the survivor comes out and there's like a really good perk that they've got, that can easily weasel itself in. It's constantly just seeing, oh, that pick does this. We can try and see if it's gonna work in the meta. If it doesn't, it's more like just use it if you want to like use it basically.
So how often do ranks reset? And is the ranks tied to the meta?
No, rank doesn't really matter to be honest. Rank is more based on like how much you've played the game. I find rank reset happens every month basically. It's separate for killer and survivors. The only difference that you'll find in them is the more and more you play, you'll clearly come across the more experienced players because they're going to play the game more, obviously. So,
Are the items and add-ons also tied to the meta?
I mean, at the moment, like I said, there's been a bit of a shake up. So there's been like a healer nerf. So all medkits have been nerfed to the ground. Um, that like medkits and flashlights were quite meta. Flashlights still in and out. Medkits have taken a big hit. So it's trying to figure out now like how are you gonna best utilize the medkits? Because people are still gonna run them. It's like a free heal for yourself or your teammate at the end of the day. It's stupid not to bring one, but also it's trying to figure out the best add-ons now.
Because okay, I'm confused between what an add-on is and what a perk is. I
So perks, you can run four perks. So the perks will give you kind of like a little bit of an advantage. So a few examples will be like windows of opportunity, where you get to see pallets, windows, and breakable doors. So that way you know where to loop around. It's I think it's flashbang, and it's what it is basically. You work on a gen, till it's about 50% of the way done. Go into a locker, you can make a flashbang, and then you can use that to blind the killer. Items and add-ons are specifically taking them into a trial, well, into a game for like a one-time use almost. So you can bring like a green med kit, which is your item, and then you can add add-ons to like help with the efficiency to make it last longer, or give like an extra like 5% healing boost. So
I am willing to bet with how long you played the game, you have advice for people who want to get into DBD. But I am also willing to bet that advice is going to be different if they want to be players or survivors or killers. But what is that advice?
oh, best bit of advice I would always give out when people ask, play both. Play survivor and killer. Because if you're only going to play survivor and just strictly sticking to that, you're not going to understand how a killer is going to play. And the same with killer, you're not going to understand how the survivor is going to play. So it's best to get a few hours in on both, feel them both. And then that way you can get aggressive with being like, oh, okay, so like I know that the killer, like we're on 2 gens, the killer hasn't got any hooks. He's probably going to start tunneling and face camping, so we need to be a little bit more careful with where we go. And like with killer, you easily pick up on. It's easy to pick up on certain things. It's more like repetition, if that makes sense.
My final question to all my interviews is: do you at this time do you have anyone or anything you would like to shout out?
Oh, my girl, Shelly_Mills on Twitch. She is an amazing streamer. She is a lovely person, lovely soul. She is an amazing content creator. Um, Kaylee Loeb, Kaylee, absolutely adore that girl. I literally cannot thank her enough for the amount of support that she has given me in the past and still does. I love her. Um, and my own mod team, I have to shout out my own mod team because, like, without them on my Twitch, like, without them, it would be a travesty. They keep me together, they keep me in check, and my community. I want to shout out all them. All them.
Thank you for your time. It was fun interviewing you, and I hope to do it again in the future. And if you've made it this far in the video, go check out the links to them will be in the description.
Good. I enjoyed this.